Hi friends, I don't know how you're doing, but I had a huge meltdown yesterday over a pretty trivial thing. But this whole COVID-19 self-quarantining thing is kind of really preying on me and on my fears. And not preying in the prey way, but like preying like monster way. And so it made me think about the fact that I have a program I do when I speak called Vanquishing the Vampires, Fighting the Fears That Suck the Lifeblood Out of You. And it talks about how fear is like a vampire. Now, I am a huge Jane Austen fan. If you look over at this bookshelf over here, that entire bookshelf is prequels and sequels and reimaginings, mostly of the Pride and Prejudice story. But there's a couple that my husband has never been able to get me to buy, and they are Pride and Prejudice and Zombies and Mr. Darcy Vampire, because I don't want vampires sucking the blood out of my favorite story. Now, the only thing I can say about vampires and knew about them was that they kind of had this sucking habit and that you wore them off with the cross of Jesus. But I thought that that might make them a fitting analogy for fear, because fear does suck the lifeblood out of us. And like vampires, fears often rise up in the night. They can also sneak up on us. They might disguise themselves as something like a valid concern or a responsibility, but instead, they're a mission of Satan. You can't really kill vampires, and you can't kill fear either, because they're already dead. And fears are straight from that father of lies. But they keep coming back to cause trouble. You know, our fears and what we fear is often a matter of perspective. One day I took this walk and this giant insect attacked me and got behind my glasses. And I couldn't see anything, and I quick ripped off my glasses and looked down at this bug. And it was this gnat about the size of a period. I realized then that if the gnat had been a few feet away, I would never have even noticed it. It was the fact that it was so close to me, my perspective was so blocked, that it became this gargantuan size and really affected my vision and my focus and my perspective. And this makes a difference in all areas of life. You know, when COVID-19 started blowing up in China, I was sad, but it didn't really affect me. But when it hit the US, when it hit my state, when it hit my county, when it affected my livelihood, because now I had to self-quarantine in my house, suddenly it was this big thing. Perspective makes a difference. And so I think it can help us to shift our focus from the fear and instead focus on something out in the distance that's stable, something that holds power and that's not right here, in the sense of that it's the only thing blocking our vision. So we're going to learn to refocus, to look at something that's far out and more powerful than we are. And we're going to use the Lord's Prayer and the 23rd Psalm to try to look at a few of these things. The Lord's Prayer starts with, "Our Father, who art in heaven." You see, the truth is, God is not surprised by my surprises. God is not in heaven at this moment going, "Oh my goodness, what is going on here? I have no idea what to do about this now." He is the King of heaven. He is the omni-God, O-M-N-I, omni. He is omniscient, meaning he knows everything. He is omnipotent, meaning he is all-powerful. And he is omnipresent, meaning he is always everywhere, right here with us, where we are now. And he can handle it all, which means God's got this. Now, I'm going to tell you, I don't understand how that plays out in this virus and why it would be there, but I can trust him because the scripture says that he's our Father. I don't know what your father was like. My dad was amazing, wonderful, loving man. Yours may not have been, but don't project that image on God then. Think of God as the Father you wished you had. Put those qualities onto him, because he is the only totally loving, all-wise being who cares for us intimately. We often don't understand our difficulties and how they fit in with a plan for a God who is good. Just like a toddler who has a meltdown in the grocery store because they don't understand why they can't eat 3 bags of cookies right this minute. We often don't understand what God allows in our lives or denies in our lives at any given moment. But we can trust his goodness. God's Spirit can empower me to trust in God's goodness, even when it doesn't feel that way to my peanut-sized brain or to my oversized emotions. God is a Father who loves, who guides our lives for the best, even when we can't see it. 1 John 3:1 says, "How great is the love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God." And that is what we are. We are his beloved children right now, where we are, held safe in his hand, and we can trust him. We'll see you back.